In 13.4, this is a gigantic word problem involving cylinders and volume. And in a previous section, we talked about how to find the volume of cylinders or the prisms using big B times H. You guys are going to be using that, and sometimes you have to switch the big B since it's a cylinder to pi r squared times H. So these are the two formulas you're going to use as you're doing some of the problems. Other facts that you are going to need to know. You're going to need to know that barbell plates have a diameter of 17.5 inches and a height from one base to the next of 15 inches. I'll show you what I mean. 1 cup of Skittles is about 199 Skittles, and that's about the same thing as 160 grams. We're going to use those facts as we do this problem. 1 U.S. cup is about 14.437 cubic inches. So volume of 1 U.S. cup is about that much. 41 ounces of Skittles cost $6.83, 2 pounds, 9 ounces, or 1.16 kilograms. I think kilograms are a lot easier. The only thing else I did not put in here that you may be using are proportions. If you don't remember what a proportion is, it's where you have two fractions equal to each other. It might be price per kilogram equals a price per kilogram. But in all of these problems, one of the ways that I solved half of the problems was using a proportion, or using something over something equals something over something. If I knew the price per kilogram of a small bag, I could find the price per kilogram of the large cylinders. Now, there's a bunch of stuff you wrote down and you're like, what the heck is the problem anyways? Well, let me show you. It's called Lift the Rainbow. Lift the Rainbow looks like this. What would happen if you had a weight bar and instead of having plates, you had 2 plastic cylinders filled with Skittles? Where did this idea come from? Well, believe it or not, Marshawn Lynch did a commercial. So let's take a look at this commercial real quick, see if we can press play. I don't know if you can see that very well. There's Marshawn Lynch doing exercises with a bag of Skittles in front of him. There's the Skittles inside the plate. He's doing deadlifts with Skittles and a jerk. That's what that's called. So let me close this thing down and show you this picture of Marshawn Lynch holding up a barbell with 2 plates, and the plates are not normal plates. The plates that we lift in the weight room have different weights on them, so you know exactly how much weight you're putting over your head. Well, what happens if your plate is a plastic cylinder filled with Skittles? You're going to have to answer a variety of questions about this photo shoot. He was strong enough to do it. He was strong enough to lift this over his head. But you might have several questions. The questions that you might have are, well, how much does that weigh? And we're going to do is we're going to answer, how much does it weigh? How much does it cost to fill that up? And I want to say we're going to figure out how many Skittles are in it, how much does it weigh, and how much does it cost to fill it up. Things that you're going to need to know. You're going to need to know how far apart. Like if you used a regular standard plate, how far is it? It's 17.5 inch diameter. That's a normal size plate. That's exactly the same thing they built these things out of. They want the same size plate as what you're normally used to. We're going to use that. If you want to know how much a cup of Skittles is. Here's 1 cup. It's this many Skittles, 199 Skittles. We wrote that down. It also takes up this amount of cubic inches. That's important for us to know. We wrote that down in our notes. We're going to be dealing a lot with proportions. If you know how many Skittles in this many cubic inches, if you know how many cubic inches are inside of that, those 2 cylinders, then maybe you can set up a proportion to figure that stuff out. We have that. We have that. I'm going to go down into, if you have 41 ounces of Skittles and it costs $6.83 at the supermarket, and that is exactly 1.16 kilograms or 2 pounds 9 ounces. Now we can talk about price per kilogram and use that possibly to figure out the price it would take if we went to the supermarket to buy all the Skittles to fill inside there. So, on 4,000 rainbows? I don't think that's 4,000. I'm not sure what it is. But that's what you're going to do today. You are going to get your worksheet and you are going to make some guesses. The very first question that it asks you is, what do you need to know to calculate the estimate range of how many Skittles are in the barbell? So, I am hoping that I gave you every single thing that you needed inside there, right here. This is all the information you should need to be able to estimate, to figure out what the volume of the plates are. And remember, there's not just 1 cylinder. There are 2 cylinders. So if you do pi r squared times h, don't forget you have another one that you're also filling the other side. So think of it as 2 pi r squared times h as you're figuring out the math of how many Skittles would be in there. So what I'm going to do now, this is considered part 1 of your notes today. I'm going to give you 15, 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes from now, I'm going to make sure that you are able to get through the first 2 to 3 questions. But I want you to start playing around with, well, what could I do to answer that question? How can I do it? And you're going to attack it with your friends, with the calculators, and you're going to go straight from there. I'm going to stop your part 1 right now.